Hola, buddies. You're watching MWM and I'm MaddiE Dawson. Welcome back to another episode of Decrypting Movies. And in this episode, we are going to decrypt a Korean movie titled The Call. Let's get started. Alright, guys. So this is the movie The Call. There is another Hollywood film called the same title, The Call. Not to be confused with that. So this is a South Korean movie that is available on Netflix. It is released. It was released last year. So it's just a short movie, and my rating. If you'd see, don't attend calls when you're alone. So this is a really a different film because it has a lot of mixed genres like horror and science fiction. I don't know whether to call this a science fiction film because the element is so minute, and obviously thriller. So I would say it's a thriller horror kind of film. I enjoy watching it. In fact, you would be terrified. So this is my blog about the film. If you don't want any spoilers, you can just go read my blog and decide whether to watch the movie or not. So let us jump to the trailer. We'll watch the trailer before we analyze the film.
또 궁금한 거 없어? 20년 후에다. 거기 오늘이 며칠이라고 했지? 내가 말이야, 너희 아빠를 내가 다시 살릴 수도 있지 않을까? 신기하네. 진짜 바뀌었네. 너 지금 엄청 당황했지? 일이 잘못돼도 전화기는 끝까지 가지고 있어. 내가 다시 바꿀 수 있으니까. 누군지 아세요? 연쇄살인마 오영수. 아빠한테 무슨 짓을 한 거야? 내가 왜 경찰한테 잡히는지 정확하게 알아. 진짜 네가 그랬구나. 넌 내가 찾아서 죽여버렸어. 이런 사소한 거로 사람 인생이 바뀐다니까.
Yeah. So I don't think the horror experience you would get it from this trailer, but the movie is really terrifying in many segments. Yeah, as you had seen, there are not one but two female lead characters. That's the beauty of the film because very rarely you'll get to see a female protagonist in this. Both the protagonist and the antagonist are female characters. So we will get into the three acts. So there are three acts, as you know: the exposition, confrontation, and the resolution. So the exposition is the act where in the first few minutes the world in which the story is going to progress is exposed. So we will be exposed to the characters, the lead character, what he or she is about. So in this movie we are exposed to this Kim. She is the protagonist. So she comes back to her village, and in order to visit her sick mom, and she's for temporary purposes she's moving to the home where she had grew up. So that's a old derelict or decrypt. What do you say? It's a old house, and she basically lost the mobile on the way. So she's trying to figure out if there is a landline or something, and she ends up finding a what do you call old 90s telephone. So this happens in 2019. So when she's trying to call her mobile in order to find out who has it so that she can able to get it. So she ends up calling someone from 1999, so 20 years before. So this is the science fiction element. So she finds a mobile, or I mean a landline, what do you call landline, telephone in the home, old telephone in the home, and she's trying to call her mobile so that she wants to find out where it is, but then she ends up communicating with a person in 1999. Does it ring a bell? I think the first episode in the Decrypting movie series was Mirage, and when I was watching the movie, even I felt the same connection. So Mirage was also in the same terms. So person from 2019 is communicating to a person in 1999, and the story is again same year. The 1999 person name is Yang Suk. So she's also in the same house. So basically, they are actually in the same house, but in different timelines apart. So that is the inciting incident. So inciting incidents is when in the first act something interesting happens that kickstarts the story. So until then, you will be like exposed to the world, the characters, and their profession, or what kind of story it's about. And inciting incident is when the protagonist discovers something, and from there she is getting a motive. So here, so she ends up communicating with Yang Suk in 1999, and they start making a friendship. So now they are exchanging information. So if you see about our protagonist Kim, she has lost her father in her childhood due to a fire accident. Basically, I think the gas was not. I mean, the kitchen stove gas was not off, and then because of that, it was a gas leak, and there was a fire accident, and because of that, she lost her dad, and she blames her mom for that. So this is her background story. And if you see the 1999 Yang Suk, so she's an abused child, basically not a child, she's on her teens. So her mom is what we call a witch who knows witchcraft. So in Korean term, it is called shaman. So Yang Suk's mom is a shaman who is abusing Yang Suk with her witchcraft powers. She feels that Yang Suk is kind of possessed, and every time she does some rituals in order to set her right, but actually she's abusing her. So these are the stories of the protagonist and antagonist. So through this communication over the telephone, which I say is the only science fiction phenomenon. So we are not exploring, I mean, they are not exploring how this happens, how through an old telephone we can speak with someone in 1999. So that explanation or deep dive into that part is not there. So film concentrates on the events and the interaction between the protagonist and the antagonist. So it's just two major lead characters and the supporting characters. So the relationship starts, so they start exchanging information and how things have changed in 20 years. And it was really good, that beautiful beginning of a relationship where you see liking for each other. So that was really good, but then after some point it then takes a turn. So that's how the story progresses in a very thrilling and enchanting manner. So I loved the film because of that. So what happens is, now that if you see the protagonist who is in 2019 Kim, she knows what all has happened, and the antagonist into 1999 Yang Suk, she knows what will happen. So she proposes an idea that she can save the Kim's father, and she does save Kim's father. And so that now that's a big event, that's a big plot. So Yang Suk goes to the old house of Kim, where when 1999 Kim was very small kid, like she's a little girl. So Yang Suk saves prevents that fire accident so that her dad lives on. The dad of Kim lives on, and things after that suddenly takes a drastic change. So Kim gets her dad, and both her dad and mom are healthy, and they are living happily in 2019. So it instantly changes that the future. And then she becomes very busy with her family, like going out shopping, spending more time with the parents. So because of that, Yang Suk kind of gets annoyed because she's having the same life, getting abused by her witch mother. So that's when the things starts taking a turn. So she ends up becoming a serial killer. In fact, she kills her own mom. And that particular sequence, the music is actually when she comes out of the home. So until then she's been confined within the home only for saving Kim's father. She went out, but after killing the mom, she comes out. That beautiful background music I want to hear again. Yeah, let me enable sound.
내가 다시
Yeah, this music is for that particular sequence. So in trailer they are mixing it up with other scenes, but in the movie, if you see, this is like, I think, 2 or 3 minute sequence with this rock music. She just enjoys after coming out of home. She goes to some hotel, eats what she wants, and then shops what she wants. So that sequence was really, that's where the antagonist, she becomes the villain and the serial killer. So that was good. So then from then onwards, it's again so Karen Tom and Mouse, I mean Tom and Jerry game. So that's a very famous technique where the audience will be thrilled to know what happens, because there is a cat and mouse, so both of them are chasing each other. So the protagonist tries to prevent the killings of the antagonist. But every time they plan a move, every time Kim plans a move against the antagonist, she's one step forward. That's how it was. So from there onwards, the screenplay is very crazy. I mean, it's so enchanting and captivating. You cannot move away from the screen. So whether you watch it in a TV or mobile, you cannot take your eyes off. So after the, I mean, the confrontation second act was really thrilling. And climax, I would say, climax, it is kind of mixed, because they end up showing one plot, but then they change it over the credits. So that is one drawback, I would say. I mean, not drawback, I thought it's too much of technicality there. So whether the protagonist is able to get away from this antagonist, that is the story. So she without knowing, she ended up forming a relationship with a serial killer. And the serial killer is someone not in the present, she's in the past. So she knows all her information, who's a dad, who's a mom. And so she can influence the future. So that's how the story. So basically she has the key for her life. So if she alters something in the present 1999, that's going to affect the future. So how will the protagonist save herself and her family members? That is the story. And the climax is kind of intertwisted, but still it is thrilling and highly melodramatic. And I would say for thriller genre fans, definitely the Korean movie is a must watch. I guess it's a very good movie. You should be yeah. And there are the horror element is because of the background music. It's really terrifying. And if you see the scenes of young Sook are very dark. So if you see her life, the protagonist's life is beautiful and colorful. The change in color is drastic. You can easily make out when we go into the antagonist home. So it's the same home. They show it in two colors, in 2019 and 1999. So it is very dark. And yeah. So the climax does happen in the home. That is an interesting sequence. I don't want to reveal any plots here. Yeah, I mean, in the trailer itself, they have given away most of the plot. So yeah, even though you know the storyline, it would still be a great film. Watch it, definitely watch it if you have Netflix subscription. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll catch up in another episode of Decrypting Movies. Until then, bye bye.